Hi, my name is Audrey Williams of Audrey Williams Flowers to Interiors, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to the Country Living series, where today I'm going to talk to you about 10 country living tips, and there might be a few bonus ones too, on what you should consider before moving to the countryside. So the first tip I have for you is start growing where you are. If it's on a windowsill, back doorstep, balcony, veranda, anywhere, small garden, if you've got access to an allotment, just start growing. And if that's something you want to do when you move to the countryside, which I highly recommend, definitely you kind of need to kind of get into that mode and that mindset of growing. And also you need to learn an awful lot, so you might as well start where you are. Grow fruits, vegetables, whatever, anything that you can grow, and definitely grow flowers as well, because it's important that when you grow food that you actually have flowers, because it helps with the pollination. So that's my first tip. Second tip is pray consistently. If it's something that you want to do and you desire to do, pray without ceasing. It's something that we did constantly through every step that we made, and I will be doing a testimony video coming soon. So definitely pray consistently, continually, all the time about everything and anything, but particularly obviously about moving to the countryside. Third tip I have for you is consider doing anything that's self-sufficient, or making anything that you would ordinarily just buy at the shops. When you live in the countryside, you don't necessarily live near shops, and if you've got ingredients that you can put together to use, it means that you're not constantly relying on what is out there to buy. So for example, you can look at cleaning products, white vinegar, bicarbonate of soda, and I will do a video on the different cleaning products that I use around the house. Other cleaning products that you can use is lemon as well, and all these things that you can make even before you move to the countryside, so that you just kind of get used to it. Because if you end up having a septic tank from where you live, then those are the kind of cleaning products that you use so that you don't damage the septic tank. Even if you don't have a septic tank where you move to, it's just better for the environment, and it's better for you to not be totally reliant on everything that you buy in the stores. Just have like staples in the cupboard that you can go to. Fourth tip I have for you, and these are not really necessarily in order, but do your research. And when I say do your research, books, country living book, YouTube, listen to sermons, listen to audiobooks, look at books at gardening. Just do as much research as you can do about moving to the countryside. And although you will still have surprises and you'll still have things that you don't necessarily learn in these books or from people, it just makes you a lot more aware and a lot more for what you're looking for when you move to the countryside. And yes, so just do your research. There's blog posts out there, there's just a wealth of information out there, so do your research. Also, I have a playlist. This is the 11th video in the Country Living series, so definitely check out the playlist where I've talked to you about different aspects of living in the countryside, and going forward there will be more things about living in the countryside as well. So as part of your research, check out my videos. One of the things we did when moving to the countryside was actually rent a cottage in the area that we were considering. So if that's possible, think about renting in the area, or take mini breaks in the area. Definitely drive around the area, come in different times of the day in the area that you're looking for, and definitely spend as much time in the area so that you can see what it's what it's like, other than just buying the property, and you know, your access to different things. So that's my next tip for you. The seventh tip I've got for you is declutter before you move. So before even considering, there might be things that you don't necessarily need in the countryside. Don't know what those are. It's personal to you, but definitely do a declutter so you're not bringing all that stuff with you, and that you don't necessarily need. So I mean, it's good to declutter anyway, to be fair, and it's something that I love to do. But yes, definitely do a declutter while you're considering or moving or thinking about moving to the countryside, because there's a lot of things that you probably won't need. Make a list of, this is tip number 8, make a list of gardening items that you think you will need. So after you do your research, the whole idea of it being in the countryside is that it tends to be a much more outdoor experience. When you're living here, you tend to go outdoors a lot more, and you're in the garden a lot more. So definitely consider like gardening things that you might need. The basics: fork, shovel, gardening gloves, kneeling bench. Just make a list of the kind of things that you will need, because depending on what season that you move into, then you will just definitely need to have some gardening equipment. So at least make a list of what you need. Before moving to the countryside, it's a given, but it's still worth mentioning. Definitely have a look at estate agents online, on the high street, and just get a feel for the sort of properties that are out there, whether you're renting or whether you're buying. You just kind of need to do a lot of research and kind of see what's the sort of properties that are out there, because a lot of the times the properties aren't like the ones in the cities. I mean, yes, they do have bedrooms and bathrooms and kitchens, but it's just sometimes they're a different layout, different ages. Some are really close to a country lane, some are really set back. Some got big gardens. You might be next to farmland, you might be next to arable land. So definitely look at what's out there by, you know, Zoopla, all the different ones that you can look online, just to get a feel of what's out there before you even decide to move. Persevere is something that's written in Country Living about moving to the countryside. You do have to persevere. There will be obstacles that probably come in your way, or difficulties that come in, but you just need to persevere and don't give up. And also, you really do need to plan, and there's an awful lot in the planning stage of moving. So think about all the different aspects of what you will need to do before moving to the countryside. So definitely planning and persevere. So that's kind of 10 top tips, but I've got some bonus ones for you as well. Definitely think about if you're going to be working from home, think about the broadband in the area. When we first moved here, it was absolutely atrocious, and it was just so difficult. We now have fibre, so it's a lot better, and they are rolling it out in more rural areas, the fibre. But definitely think about the broadband, you know, at least have a look at how it is and how it works. And speaking of broadband, also phone reception. Some companies' reception works where you are, some don't. When we came, I can't remember who we were with, I think we were with 3 at the time, and you were hanging out the windows, walking around the garden, it was a nightmare. We're with O2 seems to be better where we are, so definitely when you're walking around an area, check out the reception, because yeah, that's kind of going to be important to you if you need your mobile phone. Going back to the planning, think about how you're going to get to work, how you're going to get the children to school. If you're going to homeschool, that's great. If you're not going to homeschool, there's usually really good schools in rural areas. However, it's not going to be a short commute unless you live really close to the school. So think about school runs where it is in proximity to the property. If you're going to commute back to the city, you've got to think it's going to be a longer commute. Consider what it is that you could do for a living working from home. So those are the kind of things that you kind of need to consider and things that you need to think about before moving to the countryside. So other tips I have for you is look out for floodplains. Look at the flood risks that you could have in the area. So whatever area you're considering, just look out for that. Look out for flight paths if you're going to be near an airport, if that's something that you're going to think about. Look out for train lines. If you're near a train line, that's something that you need to consider and look out for when you're looking for property or thinking about it. But definitely put it on your list. And also think about any major developments that might be coming up. So the UK is always expanding its cities, and it could mean that further down the line that you could be living next to a village or living next to some sort of development, but those are something that you kind of need to research in the area, and those are always online so that you can look at when they're coming, what's coming, the plans and everything. So always consider looking at developments. I was speaking to my husband and he said one tip that he thought would be good to mention is you have to have the mindset that be prepared to face whatever comes up. Just have that mindset that you're in a different type of place, you're in a different area, different way of living. So be prepared to just have a different mindset and to be able to face whatever it is that's thrown at you. I hope this video has been useful to you. I know that it's a lot to consider, but it's a big step moving to the countryside, and we've been here for coming up to, and I didn't realise, 13 years in September. My goodness, it's flown by. And it's just really great that I can share what it is that I think that it will be good for you to look out for before moving to the countryside. I am going to do another video on country living tips for when you get to the countryside. So subscribe to my channel. It's free to subscribe. Click the notification bell and it will let you know when I load up the next one. There's lots of people watching who are not subscribed, and it really does help me out if you do subscribe. So really do subscribe. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That's really helpful. And if you have any comments at all on other tips that you might consider, or what tips you thought were good, what tips that you thought were useful, please comment them in the comment box below, and I'll have a look through them and see if I can answer them and comment back as well. I really look forward to seeing you in the next video, and thank you so much for watching.